Welcome to Water Online Radio's live coverage of the American Waterworks Association's 2015 Annual Conference and Expo. Broadcasting live from Anaheim, California. ACE15, uniting the world of water. Water Online Radio is brought to you by wateronline.com, showcasing today's water industry leaders and innovators. And now, here are your hosts, Todd Schnick and Kelly Riggs.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Water Online Radio's fourth year of coverage from ACE. And hello from Anaheim. I'm your host, Todd Schnick, joined by my friend and colleague, Kelly Riggs. You know, Kelly, I've been covering this event for 4 years now, and over these years, I've built some relationships with some really cool companies doing some amazing things, really impacting the industry. And today's guest is one of those companies that's going to be a fun conversation.
Well, I can't wait to meet our guest because clearly she's important. She brings her own entourage. She's got her own audience out here.
Groupies, fan club, you have it all.
Hecklers.
Yes,
and
hecklers as well.
That's the key. So, Kristie Anderson, she's a marketing manager with Badger Meter. Kristie, welcome to the show. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Raise your mic up real quick. Okay. All right. So, give us our audience is certainly familiar with Badger Meter, but take a quick second and remind the audience a bit about Badger Meter. What do you do? How do you serve the market?
Sure. We've been around for 110 years, celebrating our 110th anniversary now, so lots of innovation in there. Certainly known for our meters originally. Our name comes from that, of course, but we make end-to-end managed solution now. We've got meters, we've got walk-by solutions, drive-by meter reading solutions, fixed network, and now our new managed solution that we're talking about here at the show.
Well, the advanced metering analytics piece is a big part of the show this year. It's a big part of what you do. Let's dive in there deep and talk a little bit about what it is, what it does, and how you're promoting it.
Sure. That's Beacon AMA is what we call it, and that's an end-to-end managed solution where Badger Meter is doing the meter reading system maintenance and hosting the software online. And what that does for utility is it enables them to get a much clearer look into their own operations. It's taking that meter reading data and it's making it much more intuitive and easy to access. So that enables them to enhance their operations. They're able to provide better customer service as well. Their customers call in and say, hey, how could I be using this much water? The utility has great answers for them, right? Because they can log in on their dashboard and right away they can see if there are any anomalies, things they're not expecting. They can see patterns of usage, and they can identify kind of problem dates or situations where a customer might have an inquiry, and they can answer and address that inquiry before it becomes a situation where maybe they have to roll a truck or some kind of dispute. So that's a big way that it's helping utilities. By the managed solution, what we mean by that is Badger Meter is managing the software and also the infrastructure. So the software itself is hosted online. So a utility's IT people don't have to install software. They don't have to do software updates. Badger Meter is doing that. The utility would just log in online using any web browser into the website, and they'd immediately have access to the latest and greatest information and see their information. Probably open up on the dashboard, they at a glance, and get an overview right away of what's happening in their system. Are they seeing any exceptions? What's the overall health? Is everything communicating? How much consumption? And get a real good look at that. And then, of course, they can dive deeper if they have further questions about that. It also means that, the managed solution relies really heavily on a cellular endpoint or a radio. Okay. So that means there are no gateways required. So there's much less infrastructure with the cellular endpoint. Badger Meter in a full system, there might be a gateway or two, but Badger Meter would manage those. So for utility, that means they're not maintaining any gateways. And utilities really don't, for the most part, they like to keep their feet on the ground. They're not really experts at going up on the water tower and putting up gateways and things like that. So Badger Meter handles all of that. And we really feel like by relieving that burden of the IT and the infrastructure, we're letting utilities really focus on what they do best, which is delivering water.
Well, and that's where I wanted to follow up, because my sense is that technology is a great thing, but sometimes just implementation and the impact that it has on any system, the municipality or whomever, is really dramatic in terms of retraining and resetting people and all that. It sounds like to me you've solved a lot of those problems. You really make that implementation easy.
That's right. I mean, I really think that we have something here, and the software is so intuitive that we do have people kind of say, do I really even need training when we show it to them and demonstrate them? Now, we still like to do a little bit of training, but people, I mean, we've heard that time and time again. It's very intuitive. You don't have to have IT people installing the software and servers and doing updates, so people can just log in and they can see, and it is very intuitive. That's huge. It's absolutely huge, and I think that a demo is really nice of that software.
Sure.
So people can kind of see in an instant when they see that software and like, oh yeah, we get what you mean. It's intuitive. And
Kristie, utilities, municipalities, they're not really used to having access to all this data. And they've had to go through a long learning curve to be able to do, and we're good at collecting it, but I don't think we've always been historically good at doing anything meaningful with it. Sounds like your solution obviously enables them to do that, but is the tide turning? Are utilities, are they getting more receptive to having access to all this information? Because it is game-changing for them once they understand how to leverage it. Is the tide turning there?
Absolutely, I think it is, and I think wisely consumers, and maybe as a consumer on an app that you might have on your phone, I think a very reasonable expectation people have is that I shouldn't have to be nervous about new technology. It should be intuitive enough for me to handle, and it's certainly, I think that is a goal of the developers, is to make things very intuitive, so you don't really have to be nervous about the technology and trying it out. And then the alerts and analytics, how to leverage that data, that's key. You can configure, you can look for exceptions. You can, there's a dashboard that says, it's kind of like, here's a guess at what we think you're going to find is very interesting about what's happening in your system, but you can also configure very specific alerts. So here's a consumption. Tell me if the consumption hits this level. Tell me if I have a continuous leak. Here's what I want the software to do if I do have a continuous usage, which would probably indicate a leak, especially like in a residence. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to send me an email. I want you to send me a text. And the software is doing so much more of that work as I think it's right to expect.
Right. Well, as we sit here at ACE15 in California, all of those things that you're talking about deal very specifically with drought and water usage and conservation and all of those kinds of things. I suspect that's a real impetus behind a lot of the work that you're doing.
It absolutely is, and it's really resonated with our customers in California. Seeing the data in this intuitive manner has been very helpful. You can quickly identify changes in patterns in usage and consumption. It also enables the utilities to provide for their customers consumer engagement portal, and so they can log in online, mm-hmm. and also use an app. So their own consumers can log in and they can see what's my usage been, how does it compare to last week. They could see, I've taken some steps to conserve water. Are they having an effect? How much effect? If they want to, they can even log in and say, I've got a pool. I've got so many people in my family. Here's how big my lawn is that I'm irrigating.
Right.
So tell me how I compare to other similar households. Where am I in this? And they can get a feel for, do I need to conserve more? How am I doing in comparison? Has what I've been doing, is it having an impact?
Well, just awareness alone has a real impact on conservation, doesn't it? Just having visibility of those numbers.
Oh, I've been watching public service announcements since I was a kid saying it's important to conserve. And it was a high-level conceptual thing that I couldn't get my head around. But when I open up an app and I got data, I got charts and graphs, and I can really see, that's where I think we're going to start seeing the real change in that end user.
Absolutely, and there's hard research that proves that it does have an impact, mm-hmm. and particularly if you have a user that is using more water than maybe a similar household, that they will take steps to mitigate that. So, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, so you're exhibiting here at ACE15. What are some other things that you're showcasing and shining a light on here?
Right. Well, we talked about 110 years of innovation, and there's plenty of evidence of that in the booth for our meters, our radio endpoints. Our cellular endpoint, I think, is of particular interest. There's some. We talked about that not needing infrastructure, but another nice point about the cellular endpoint is that you don't need that gateway. With a traditional fixed network, you need a gateway, and you need a very high number of endpoints to justify the cost of installing that gateway. With a cellular endpoint, you don't need to install a gateway, and you can start out with a cellular endpoint with as few as like 10 services. So it's very flexible and a very nice tool for filling in if you've got a full deployment and maybe a few services that maybe you aren't getting the coverage that you want with your fixed network, or maybe some commercial accounts that you want some more granular data on, that you can install just a handful of cellular endpoints. That's here. You can see some of the enhancements we have on the consumer app. We kind of talked about some of that software, and to see that we talk about how intuitive the software is. I think if you see it, it makes all the difference if you stop by the booth.
All right. You're delivering a talk tomorrow as well. I imagine you're going to be discussing the Beacon AMA. What other highlights should we be looking forward to?
Oh, well, we've got a customer panel, so you can kind of take their word for what's happening and how this all works. And we've got a couple technical sessions, and I think it's going to be very good if people want to stop by. It's from 9 to noon in room 304A.
Well, if it's as good as this conversation, it promises to be an exciting presentation. So, Kristie, we're out of time. Before we let you go, should people have questions, where can they go to get in touch with you, and where can they learn more about Badger Meter?
Oh, I would recommend that they see us at badgermeter.com.
All right. Kristie Anderson, Marketing Manager with Badger Meter. Great to have you. Thanks for stopping by and joining us.
Thank you very much, Todd.
All right. That's it for this broadcast. To listen to every great conversation from ACE15 on demand, check out wateronlineradio.com. That's wateronlineradio.com. So on behalf of myself, my co-host, Kelly Riggs, Engineer Floyd, and all of us at Water Online, I am Todd Schnick. Water Online Radio. We'll be right back.